maybe 1,000.
And the way we would leave it, or the way the MOU was, they have to have their money raised by October
It's May
It was May.
or by May.
of the preceding year, so by May 1st of this.
And the group was in favor of this. They feel they will have better opportunities to fundraise with more kids and more involvement. Two different. Right. Obviously,
We felt paying for the coaches for both programs cost the district almost $20,000, right?
Yeah.
18 something, or maybe it was over
it
that.
was like 21 or 2.
Yeah, I guess that's right, yeah. I forgot to bring my paper.
Yes.
Those were the things we talked about. Bill or Gary, there's you to add to any of them. We'll talk about the possibility, the only one that you would vote on today might be the co-op. There is a co-op proposal that Brock's going to talk about with Sheridan that, since it's a newly established, it might be time to, and he's already talked to them about that. To do that, obviously we wouldn't, any of our co-ops that we've already approved for this year, we wouldn't go back and do that. But now that we're kind of, it might be time to, the right time to do that. So, but we will have a full proposal as a plan for next year. Obviously, this would all take effect aside from the co-ops next year. But if you guys have thoughts on it, don't hesitate to reach out or to say, obviously we're looking to continue to show the investment in our programs, but at the same time, make sure that we're doing it cost effectively. All right, 6.5 is the AD report. So Mr. Melmack, we will chat with you a little bit about the MHSA proposals and the code.
So last board meeting, I brought the proposals. We had the MHSA annual meeting. In your packets there, you kind of saw how the votes went. I'll just kind of go through them. Proposal 1 was passed. That was about it was a close vote. Obviously, a lot of the 2/3 majority comes through the C's, and they were in favor of that, so it passed. For them, it's a good thing. I think it's needed for us at this point in time. It's available if we need to. Number 2, the transfer rule, that one failed. That was kind of the 50-mile radius for transfers. And then number 3, upping that value from 100 to 500 passed. Number 4, the NIL language passed. Number 5, the kind of the spectator code where an administrator or official kicks someone out of a game, they're going to receive a 3-game suspension from that sport.
Is that effective?
It'll be effective next year. So I think it's much needed. Gets some consistency across the board to everyone instead of us doing on our own. It was interesting. They're gonna, if you get kicked out of a volleyball game, you have those 3 games that you're out spanning all the sports. So if it's a football game, you could be out almost the whole season based on.
So it's based on the season.
Yeah.
I didn't even think
And based on the sport. If you get kicked out of a volleyball game, you can't go to a football game until you serve that. Kind of interesting. And then yeah, it makes our conversations, I think, if we have unruly fans, a little easier. Just, hey, if I got to come back up for your ground. And then the last one is the physicals will be good for 2 years starting. So we'll kind of work with our local folks here and kind of develop a plan and get the information out for that, because that'll be a big change for a lot of people.
If they have one this year, they'll need the next.
We're gonna get some more guidance on that a little bit. I don't want to say too much about exactly how we're gonna put that out. And then obviously, speech and drama we heard about, an outstanding year. Multiple state champions, second place, could be very proud of that. Wrestling teams up in Browning performed very well. They're headed to state this weekend. Looking forward to see if we can load up a fire truck full of those kids. I don't know if anybody had any intentions of going to that, but if you do, let me know. I get some tickets. And then with divisional basketball and state basketball coming, if you guys would like tickets to that, Megan and myself will reach out and get those squared away for you guys. So
Before we know.
yeah. That is all I have. Or did you want me to talk about co-op? Okay. Just for the co-op a little bit. I don't know if, I think Sheridan's board meeting is tomorrow, they're gonna discuss the fees. So if we decide to move forward, we're gonna have to approve it so we can get the co-op in play here this spring. Obviously, it'll kind of be in their hand what they do, but I guess.
So is this, when I'm looking at their like, the MHSA sponsorship, that's number of like males in grade 9, males in grades 10, but you're now.
Yep. And they use that information to weigh if they will approve it or not.
If it goes over a certain, it could put you into a different classification, right?
Schools. You have classification, you go up.
So why are they counting 7th and?
It's more projections. And that's kind of District 10 can get our projections. Numbers coming up. I don't know how they make the decision, Phil, to be honest. I think they look at it and say, well, you guys have enough kids, you should maybe be.
Yeah, very few girls.
Great season.
Women, boy.
So it could be something be approved tonight or not, and it might not even. Just to stay ahead and go around.
6.6 trustees 3-year term limit. So trustee Gary Love and Lori Smith's 3-year board terms are up this year. And our newly appointed board member Phil is also up, but just to finish out Pierce's term. So Pierce's 3-year term would have been up in May of 2026. So Phil will have to up this year, and then will also be next year as well. So board terms are always staggered. Some years we have 2 members up for re-election, and other years it's 3 members. I'm hoping that all of our trustees will consider reapplying. As we've talked many times, I feel like one of the strengths that we have is the great people that we have in this room, and I certainly appreciate all of you guys. So
Bill and I both turned ours in, is that correct? I don't know about Lori, is she?
he's not.
She's not.
She's going.
Good, okay.
All right, 6.7. So I just wanted to provide you a little bit of an update on Senate Bill 307. So that's the capital outlay projects for fiscal year 2025. And you'll remember that the Senate Bill 307, hopefully you remember, is the one where we put money in, but then the state matches. So it's like you get 2 for 1. So the goal for this year that we talked about was turning that Thompson lot into a parking lot. I did include in your packet a quote from Rowe Excavation for a couple of different options. I was a little bit shocked at the sticker price of what that costs. And we have about $53,000 to spend. So Jack was going to look at the possibility of maybe trying to do it in phases. But if that's not possible, maybe earmarking next year Senate bill dollars to have enough to complete the project. You'll remember we did that with the tile. We had to combine 2 years to be able to do that. And, you know, honestly, it's hard to think to spend that kind of money on a parking lot. But I will tell you that one of the biggest things that we hear, whether it's from our students or it's from community at different events and those different types of things, is we need more parking. And so you'll see there that it's kind of, one option is just kind of a gravel parking lot. And then the other option is the asphalt. So Jack was gonna go down and really try to have a more of a conversation, and of course, this is stuff that you guys probably can look at and have more knowledge on, or more, and even could provide some direction. So if you see some things that you think would be helpful in, you know, maybe getting that number lower. Obviously, there's gonna be some cleanup and some flattening and some of that kind of stuff that's gonna have to go into it, but it's,
Did you get other quotes?
What's that?
Did you
That's-
get other quotes?
I did ask him and he has not, so he was gonna reach out and try to get Jack.
Get some other quotes, and maybe if they can find stuff with other asphalt projects.
Yeah, that seems, I don't know, how big is that? Or how big
I
would
think
that?
that lot is
says it's
50 by.
Six-
200 by 60.
What's that?
200 by 60.
Yeah,
What was it, 200 by?
Right
And then 40 spots, it's like $4,300.
Seems high, right?
Yeah. And then less parking items. And
Well, we did that whole parking area at the college and it was close to 300,000 and that's a lot bigger than that. I mean, one thing I don't think is worth asking anytime you do this is, would they consider some in kind for some sort of signage in the gymnasium? You know, being a part of Beaver Booster for 10 years, to put their sign up there, if they give
Yeah.
a little bit off. I just can't imagine some of these guys wouldn't be willing to do that.
Yeah, I think some more quotes and if you're flexible on timing with that.
Mm, yeah. Or you know what it would be?
They have their own place here where they get, if they don't, doesn't have to come in.
Yeah.
They have their own hot shop or
Yeah,
whatever.
patch plan. Yeah.
Was that?
RE Miller has their own, they do
have
it
their
here,
own-
they don't have to bring.
So I'll talk to Jack about that, you know, and we talked a little bit about it. He had just kind of given it to me just before I was getting this out to you guys, and so we didn't get a real chance to talk because he's been on the tractor blowing snow. So I'll talk to him a little bit more about it, but he agreed, you know, just in the conversation that we had, that there has to be a better option. Just thought it was good to kind of get that information out, and then just to kind of get your guys' knowledge too, because I wouldn't even have thought of the in stuff. That's so smart.
Absolutely worth an ask.
I mean, it just is, it's so smart.
Especially something like ours. There's stuff up there to get the name of.
Yeah, we good about that.
Yeah.
It is too, they both are.
Okay. Awesome.
It would be nice to do something with that parking lot. It's a mess right now. and We've owned it, what, 2 years or 3 years? You know which one it is, Bill?
Just east of the building.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
As you face the gym, it's just right. to-
It would be nice to have more parking for basketball games.
Is that where the trailer was?
Mhm. Yeah, Mike and Mark both owned it. They kind of gave us a pretty good deal of it. It was less than market value, I think, so, which was nice. But there's some natural gas lines and some water lines and things like that in there that you gotta deal with.
Yeah. And is that built into this quote?
I would think so.
Okay. Because that is expensive too.
Yeah.
Hence why we moved the location of some things because of how much it costs to move those things.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
To Jack a little bit more and try to see if we can get some more quotes and then conversations and all that kind of stuff. Thank you. 6.8, the legislative update. I talked at the last meeting that I would try to provide some updates on a couple of the different bills. I focused on a couple, 3 or 4 that just, have the possibility of having an impact on school funding. So HB 320, they're talking about it being the Montana Academic Prosperity Program for scholars. It establishes dollar-to-dollar tax credits to fund scholarships to students' private educational expenses. So obviously, this bill could be concerning for public schools because it diverts potential funding away from public education and shifts state resources towards private schools. Provides tax credits for donations to private school scholarships. It's up for a second reading on the House today.
Second.
Passed a second reading. I just noted that 51 to a 48. I think it's what it was. They're hopeful that on the third reading, they can get one more vote to shut it down. That should be a meaningful.
I sent an email both to Kenny Walsh and Shannon Manis, and they both responded, but didn't say how they voted. And on the Montana School Board's deal, you're supposed to be able to click and see how they voted, but I couldn't figure out how to make it work.
Well, and I think that, I think now we should be able to, I'll see if I can do that. I sent a little thing in to, you know, share my opposition.
Yeah, so did I.
And then House Bill 156 proposes revising education funding laws to replace individual school district base, which is the base amount for school equity levies, to be replaced with a countywide base. So right now, it's school district based. So the taxes are just pulled from the district. Obviously, we're a county high school, so we are countywide with our levies. But in talking to Lance Mountain, he still feels like this will have a positive impact on our Beaverhead County taxpayers. And so a couple of things benefits taxpayers by creating a more balanced and predictable school tax structure, while potentially reducing tax burdens in certain areas. By consolidating the levies at the county level, the bill seeks to distribute educational costs more fairly, reducing disparities between the wealthier and the lower income students. It could lead to more stable funding that's just a lot more predictable for schools, lower taxes for some taxpayers, and also administrative cost savings. And like I said, I reached out to Lance because I thought it probably wouldn't have much of an impact on us because we are a county high school. He didn't give me a real in-depth response, but just that he felt like Beaverhead County, it would be positive. But to what level, I don't know how significant that would be. So. House Bill 15 aims to adjust the K-12 public school funding to account for inflation. So this bill proposes amending Montana Code Annotated to apply inflationary adjustments to various components of the school funding formula. These adjustments are intended to ensure that school funding keeps pace with the rising costs while maintaining the quality of education. It has established these new funding levels for the fiscal year 26. So if it's passed, I think this one would be in effect of July. And so basically, it would put inflationary increases on the basic entitlement, which is the A and B, the quality educator payment, which these are all of the different things that factor into the formula that gives us our general fund number that the state provides. And so right now, there is no inflationary increase on those. And so by doing that, it just would guarantee that schools would get those inflationary costs. We do see, and we have seen kind of traditionally about a 3%, 2.5 to 3% inflation increase on the bottom dollar. But this is actually part of the funding formula, so it would even increase it more significantly than the 3%. So it keeps up with inflation. Costs for teacher salaries, utilities, transportation, and classroom materials continue to rise without inflation adjustments. Schools must cut programs or request local tax increase. So the goal to this would be that you'd have to go out to the taxpayers less often because the bottom dollar from the state would be providing more of that so that you're not continuing to ask taxpayers for more. It does not create a new tax, but it allocates existing state funds towards public schools, reducing the need for local levy increases. And then HB 252, which is the STARS Act. I talked to you guys a little bit about that. It's the Student and Teacher Advancement for Results of Success Act. And it aims to enhance school funding and improve teacher compensation. It's a proposed measure to boost salaries for teachers, particularly those in the early stages of their careers, to address the ongoing teacher shortage in Montana. It revises the school funding formula to provide additional resources to schools, ensuring that they have necessary funds to deliver quality education. I did complete the STARS worksheet that Montana School Boards Association provided. And as I mentioned earlier, we do meet all of the early thresholds. And so we would already be in compliance of that. So we wouldn't have any expenses that would be going towards, trying to cover some of those costs to get our base salary up to the level, which is just right under 41,000. And so, it has the potential to increase our funding of close to $100,000, so that could be really positive. And I think most of those last three have all passed, and are just kind of waiting for, the Senate. HB 252 has passed the second reading in the House, and so it will go to the third reading, but it passed significantly, so every indication is that it's going to pass. But 15 and 156, I believe, both passed the House and are just waiting for the Senate to do their job, I guess.
Did you want to know how they voted on?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know.
Penny was gonna vote against it. And it was a District 10. School board.
Yeah, everything you do school board.
I will just try to get a couple of updates from time to time as I get them, and if you guys have any questions, you know, I know you guys have access to Montana School Boards Association and possibly get some of those emails, but sometimes just trying to rifle through to really understand what it is, it can be difficult. And so
Like sending out email.
they do.
Yeah.
Every morning.
And all of the call to action is different things. I don't know if you've seen, but they really do can create an impact. Not always. Some of them are pretty well set in what they're going to decide. But if
Can you send that link? Copy that and send it, because I'd like to look at some of the ones that are other ones, and maybe there's some other individuals that there's
So you
connection
can,
with the state,
you just go to legmt.gov
LEGMT.gov. Okay.
and you just hit Bill Explorer.
Okay.
There's two links in the middle. Bill Explorer, you just type in what bill it is, and it just shows you where it's at. Like it shows you all the dates. And then if they've done hearings or whatever, there's hyperlinks within each bill.
Okay, and that was 320, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so you just type in HB 320 in that bill tracker in the middle there.
one of the things
For
that
Bill
was also
Explorer.
learning about 320 is obviously in public education, we have a lot of built-in accountability things, from testing to all kinds of different things. And there's just not a lot of different accountability structures that are put in place in that. And so I'm sure, and maybe I'm not sure, but I would assume that there'll be some challenges and different things if it does pass, and you know how that works. But again, it's deflecting public dollars someplace else is basically what's happening, and they can increase through 15 and 156 here, but if they decrease in the in the other areas, it just doesn't equate. But hopefully it's helpful.
I will, yep. Wanted to email Shannon Mannis about that building shooting. So we got to mention in the comment and communications with the, of course, we knew that Lori Waldman passed away and had been bus driver for 23 years. When did she pass away? Right after Christmas. Yeah, January 6th. Yeah, and they had a nice service for her 2 weeks ago. Great bus driver and a great person, and Suzanne Zanes.
A lot of kids in line for a lot of years. There's probably some adults that went through this school that can still.
So Eddie was my mom's
My friend, yeah. Yeah, Alvarez, people spoke, and he said he was one of the guys that ride on the buses to help make the kids' mind, and he said he was more afraid of Lori than he was of anything else.
You could say it how she wanted it. Wasn't shy.
Just the principal's report, Rob.
All right, we'll start with
One discipline stuff. And actually, let me just get rid of these silly tardies. Then the rest of it, pretty minor. There's 14 cell phone violations. That's this year. So it's just get kids to class on time. It is the biggest thing. You disrespect it in there. Nothing major. You guys have any ideas on how to get kids to get here on time? Even,
Is it
like,
is it morning or
that
after
issue.
lunch or the ball?
I would say mainly, I would say first period's a big one, second is fifth period, right after lunch. And then.
About 7 years ago, we changed it to do Saturday detention for tardies, first and fifth period to try to curb it. Welcome to Saturday school, you're still on to school on time.
Yeah, it is funny how. And then, the next one is kind of a month by month. Fair enough. Going down the total number of discipline incidences. And so, which is a good sign. We're by far the lowest. It's still a great issue. And then actually kind of, which we get to the attendance, what the new semester and the end of the previous semester, what that attendance looks like, but in general, I think things are good. Is it every time you say something like that? Last year I said something about cell phones not being an issue, and at the next week or two, yeah, doubled them. So try not to say anything like that. And then once again, Tuesdays are the day. So I think if we ever do go to a 4-day school week, Tuesdays were.
It's a day we have.
So if we look at this and so average daily attendance, if you look at it, so this month we're at 92, but if you look at the week after we had our board meeting, we're at 94%, 92%, 83%. Those were kind of the end of the semester, beginning of the following semester. And this is pretty dark. This students can get there, especially when it's semester tests and things like that. You go into a new semester. But all in all, that I think people shoot at 92%, and that's kind of where we're at right now. And we talked earlier about situation for next year. We are going to have the 8th graders up on the 20th of February for the registration night. And Miss Hacker and I kind of work together. We talk about, the credits that they need, the classes that they're going to take, especially when they're freshmen, and what it takes to graduate, and it takes to have enough credits so you're college ready. And it's not just a visiting night, not just Miss Hacker and I talking, but at the end of the evening, we have computers available, so those parents that want to log onto a computer and kind of get registered, they can register their 8th graders for next year. And that's our goal, is to try to get as many people as possible registered.
You know how many 8th graders there are?
84.
Then 4.
Just trying to think of how many seniors we have outgoing.
7.
Yeah, just thinking that it was.
So can I? So I think talking we have solidified who's volunteering, salutatory. It's okay. Because it's gonna be. So,
The kids know, right?
yeah, I'm trying to think them all. Yeah. That's what I would. But we have 3 valedictorians this year. Those 3 are Cherish Disnega, we have Taylor Hamlos, and Kitty Visna. And then our solo salutatorian will be Juliana Merlo. So the three valedictorians are 4.0 or above. Right, just. Just solid group of kids. They take your academics very serious and they've done it their whole entire career. And so they all said that they do want to do a speech at graduation, which I always encourage them to. Sometimes they say no. Right. They should do that just because it's not just about them, it's their family and you know everybody's has helped them throughout their 13 years. They're at their accomplishment. So
And also with communications, both Taylor Hanlos and Kyler England have committed to Western for athletics also, which is pretty cool.
We're just looking at scholarship applications today, and I'm not sure if it's because of that Beaver Bulldog bundle, but we definitely have more BCHS applications than we had in a long time.
Really?
Mhm.
that's great. I was
Yeah.
we were up actually at college last Thursday. We brought the sophomores up in Career Fair and what can we do to get more Beaver County students? Or at least it's
I'm thinking about
Well,
it.
that's a great start.
because I think wise we're the lowest. All are getting your hometown.
We are the
students.
Yeah.
Encouraging.
It makes sense.
Get a lot of non-vets that come back out in years.
Students off training.
Yes, it is. Okay, any other questions for Rob? All right, we'll go to the consent agenda items.
So consideration and possible action to ratify the employment contract for Josh Patterson. So Chairman Love will present the new superintendent principal contract that has been offered and accepted by Dr. Patterson. The full board will need to motion and accept the changes.
Sent a copy of the contract out. It's a 2-year contract from July 1st of 25 to June 30th of 27. It's a standard 7-page contract, I guess, from one kind of school. We always did them with 1-pagers, but they did a 7-pager, so. And Josh Patterson did sign it on February 3rd. And by the time we received it, rather than have a special meeting, we thought it made as much sense to just ratify it tonight at our regular board meeting, so. If anyone has any discussions or questions about it, bring it up. If not, I'd entertain a motion to hire Dr. Patterson. We all had a copy of the contract in our packet.
That's
Basically what we talked about.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the contract to hire Josh Patterson as the new superintendent of Beaverhead County High School. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. Passes unanimously. I did talk to both Chris Reber and Mike Richardson today, and they both were in agreement with the contract. Wasn't able to reach Lori, but anyway, we have a new person coming, so I'm excited for him, all of us, and it'd be great. Okay, 8.2.
8.2 board consideration to hire John Briggs to fill the vacant bus number 5 route. So Sean Leniger would like to recommend John Briggs to fill the vacant number 5 bus route. He has been subbing for this route the entire school year. The route was previously filled by Lori Waldemer, who recently passed. So it would be my recommendation that we make this recommendation.
Oh, might as well get in the minutes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Moved and seconded to approve John Briggs to fill bus route number 5. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? John, I would think could help at times if they needed help on some of the mechanic stuff too. He's done a lot throughout the years, I know. The action agenda items.
Resolution by the Board of Trustees calling for the election. So included in your packet is a copy of the resolution calling for the annual school trustee election that will be held on Tuesday, May 6th. You will notice that it includes all three of the board members who will be up for election, the technology levy and the general operations and maintenance levy. Due to the technology levy approval that you guys have approved to run that technology levy, we definitely will have an election this year, even if there is no opposition, I guess. Is that what it would be, like the school board? Again, where we're sitting with our budget, we wouldn't have the opportunity to run any type of a mill levy anyways. So that one probably wouldn't be on there, but the technology levy would be, and the possibility for so I would recommend that you approve this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the resolution calling for an election. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Getting back to the consent agenda items, I will call Josh Patterson tomorrow
Okay.
and tell him that we got it. I guess that would be the prudent thing to do. So
Speaking of that, do we need to, and maybe not, this isn't the meeting, like set up some opportunities for the community to meet with him? People think.
I would think so. I'll try to visit with him tomorrow when I talk to him and see if I would hope he would come sometime in the spring.
Yeah.
I'm taking the joke down.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, geez.
It's only 11 and a half hours he said when the roads are good, so. But I was thinking, maybe along in May or June.
Yeah.
It'd come down if it would work and
Yeah,
have
I think that
it,
would be great.
spend a day in the community.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'll recommend that our meetings are taped, that he should try to sit in on our meetings too. I would hope so. He
Mhm.
knows how things operate and how we do things.
We hope that I can.
Yeah.
9.2 TR6 bus route reimbursement. So included in your packet is a copy of the first semester TR6 bus route transportation reimbursement. So it's my recommendation that you approve. And that it includes the miles per day, the rate, the driver, the bus that they're driving, what was claimed and what's reimbursed, and then the total amount of reimbursement. Recommend that you approve the TR6 reimbursement plan.
So moved.
Second.
Then moved and seconded to approve the TR6 bus route reimbursement claim. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously.
Point 3, board consideration to approve the 25-26 BCHS registration booklet. We already talked a little bit about the changes to the course registration booklet that drives the registration for our classes. At this time, it would be my recommendation that you approve this course guide.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the first reading of the updates to board policy 2100 P1. Is there any discussion? What?
Course
Course.
guide.
I'm sorry.
Jumped ahead.
I did jump ahead. The second. To approve the registration booklet. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passed unanimously, sir.
So 9.4 board consideration to approve the first reading of the updates to board policy 2100. So included in your packet is a copy of 2100 P1. I was visiting with Ms. Hacker, and this has come up multiple times for multiple years. To ask if we could change the policy that allows students 10 days to change their schedules. To only allow them 5 days when students are changing their schedules after the 6th through the 10th days. They have missed a significant chunk of valuable information. It's really difficult for teachers to catch students up, and it's difficult for students to get caught up. It would be my recommendation that you approve this first reading. As a teacher in the classroom, it was a huge deal. It's being there on the 9th day and they're trying to change it and you're trying to catch them up with all of those. You know, they definitely need a little bit of time to kind of get settled, but the more we can minimize, you know, opportunities, and Rob could probably speak to that as well.
Yeah, it just
Just makes sense.
makes sense. It makes sense. 10 days is a lot.
Just,
I would recommend you approve this.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the first reading of the updates to board policy 2100 P1. Any discussion or comments? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously.
9.5 for consideration to approve the 25-26 school calendar. So included in your packet is a copy of the 25-26 proposed school calendar. Note that there are 6 of the staff development half days that are noted in the orange and yellow. These are corresponding dates to the days that we had this year and the previous year. There always is a chance that as Brock goes to scheduling and things happen in the spring, that we might find a conflict that could cause us to have to move one of those days and have to bring it back to you guys to approve. But they have been pretty consistent for the last 2 years. The calendar was voted on by both the elementary district and our district. And honestly, we struggled to try to find a option. It was like no options. And really what happens is graduation really drives the schedule because our seniors they only have 5 days that they can get out prior to their graduation or prior to the end of the year. And so it just makes it really difficult for us to really have a lot of flexibility in what the calendar allows. And so I think we switched. I think we added a day. I can't remember what the switch was, but it was so insignificant that I think it was almost unanimous, but one staff member voted for the other one. So I would recommend you approve this.
so moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the 25-26 school calendar. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously.
9.6 board consideration to approve the FFA social event. So Mr. Igo visited with you a little bit about the alumni banquet and asking permission to allow the serving of alcohol at the event. Like I said, they've done it for the last couple of years and found a way to do it successfully and safely. And so I would recommend that you approve this request.
Second.
Seconded to approve the FFA social event where alcohol will be served. Is there any discussion? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passes unanimously.
So as we, 9.7 board consideration to approve the co-op fees that would be charged to schools with co-ops with BCHS. So as we talked at our activity meeting, we discussed the possibility of charging schools when establishing a co-op. These fees, again, will help defray the added cost for the in-season and post-season travel. It would be my recommendation that we charge schools $1,000 to establish a co-op to be paid each year to the co-op. That the co-op is in existence, even if they do not have kids who participate. That would change to $750 for boys and girls programs that have the same coach. So it would be $1,500 total instead of $2,000, if that makes sense. And then an additional $250 for each student who participates. These students would not have to purchase the activity pass that all BCHS students are required to purchase. If anybody has any additional comments that they would like to add, please do so. Otherwise, it is my recommendation that we approve that we approved going to this and starting it with any new co-ops that we do moving forward, including the next one that we're gonna vote on.
And just to be clear, whether there's a student or not participating, they still have to pay to have to go up with us. So
And you did indicate there's other schools that are doing this, correct?
In some form,
Okay,
you know, it looks way different. Talking to like Hamilton, they just calculated what the cost was per student and that is
okay.
a large number.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Fergus, they have, I can't remember what schools they're called, but haven't paid for one of their assistant coaches.
Oh, wow.
So.
Yeah.
this is still
We-
less than what a lot are charging, really. It's
Yeah, and a lot of the co-ops are, where we're more or less providing support, I guess. Yes, Hamilton would follow the same in Fergus. So those are kind of the two that I work with. The other ones, they need each other to build a team. I had a bunch of conversations with it's like there's a precedent there, right? Like nothing that's.
So that, to be clear, Twin pays $1,000 for every sport. Not,
Except for like golf, because we have one head coach.
right,
CrossFit.
but I mean, yeah, or the 750, yes.
And those ones, so this would just be
That's
for
per
the,
sport, not per school.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Is that real? Yeah.
and we wouldn't go back and finish the year with, you know, with the co-ops that we already have in existence for next year, but if we're starting a new co-op, we would start.
Some of these have been 3-year deals. I guess if they were entering their second year or their third year and didn't want to pay, I guess we would let them out of the co-op. As long as the high school association approved it. I mean, we wouldn't force them to belong if they didn't want to pay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I would move to approve the co-op fees.
Second,
Been moved and seconded to approve the co-op fees as presented by Mr. Millermankey. Is there any other discussion or questions about it? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, passes unanimously.
9.8 board consideration to approve the co-op with Sheridan for boys and girls tennis. So included in your packet is the copy of the co-op application with Sheridan for boys and girls tennis. If you approve the co-op, and 9.7 was approved, which it was, I would ask that you approve this co-op with the changes to include the co-op fees that you previously approved. So in this situation, it would be $750 for boys, $750 for girls,
Plus 250 per
plus $200 per student.
participant.
so moved.
Second. Been moved and seconded to approve the co-op with Sheridan for boys and girls tennis. Following approval of the co-op fees that we previously passed. Is there any discussion or questions? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, passes unanimously.
9.9 board consideration to approve the MOU with Montana Western to use their facility to teach an adult education welding class. So included in your packet, it's kind of the most recent MOU with Montana Western. We've been kind of working back and forth, as well as with Montana School Boards Association to allow them to access our welding facility to teach an adult education class. You'll notice in the memorandum there was a couple of things. The first one had for 5 years. I felt like maybe going through this year, just kind of seeing how it went and giving that opportunity to retake a look at it and see if there were some different things that we wanted to change. And we talked about the recommendation from Montana School Boards Association was strongly the $2 million per claim and the $2 million per occurrence for liability certificate. I spent probably a half an hour on the phone with Brandy at our insurance company and just basically her, saying that there just isn't, it's just prohibitive. There's just nobody that's going to write that. And so she felt very good about going with the statutory insurance, which was the $750 per claim and the $1.5 million per occurrence for that certificate of liability. The 20,000 was just highlighted just to note that that's what they are planning to pay. One of the things.
20,000. Back to this.
So that will, as we continue to look at this, and it's depending on the long term of the program this year, one of the things that we would like to do is really upgrade some of the welding equipment that's in there. Just to try to, it's been a little while since we've done that, and this is a great opportunity for us to be able to do that where they're benefiting as well as we're benefiting. So a good chunk of it for infrastructure and making sure that we're continuing to be able to offer quality equipment. And then also for some of the indirect costs and some of the, the indirect things like the added gas and the added electricity and, some of those different types of things. And again, I think one of the reasons why we thought just 1 year was to just really see, right now we're kind of predicting what that's going to look like, but it's just really hard. And I'll be honest, Montana Western has been super great about suggesting that they want it to be a positive partnership. They want to do their part to own their portion of that responsibility. And I think we've done a good job of trying to outline, different things. Caleb will be provided a small stipend to try to help organize to make sure that they have what they need, that the equipment is maintained, those different types of things. And so, and again, I think it's going to benefit our kids in our program too. And so I think it's a mutually beneficial opportunity for Montana Western as well as us. And it's just a great opportunity for us to work together. So yeah, I think that's important. Caleb's over there been waiting to happen. He'd like to upgrade his stuff too. So.
Kids are excited about it, live in a real tight spot in the welding single minute, but they'll get something.
Every time I see him, I'm like, I'm getting there.
That's awesome. Though. It's such a good scenario for both.
I think it's nothing objectionable about it. I think there's a man for the Western. They get to use nice stuff. We're gonna get some upgrades. Doesn't cost you no fun anything. It's like a win-win.
Yeah.
Caleb feels very good about the program.
I need to do that. That helps for sure.
Sorry, guys, that's
So I would move to approve the MOU.
Been moved and seconded to approve the MOU with Western. We use our facility to teach an adult ed welding class. During the discussion. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes unanimously. Something I just happened to think of with Western, where they were so good. Probably should send them a thank you letter.
well, and we're just still waiting for the final.
The paperwork.
Just the lawyer stuff that takes forever.
Close.
And so I know Brock's reached out just to make sure that we didn't miss that transfer of ownership or whatever, but so as soon as that is done, I think that it would be great for our kids and for everybody to really do it.
Thank you, Kurt. Okay, any other business to come before the board? Casey,
Here, you got a press release for me?
I do.
Okay.
Jason, anything from the teacher standpoint? Anything from students? Nothing? Meeting will be March 10th. At 7 p.m. If someone would like to give a motion to adjourn, we shall do it.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. Those in favor, say aye.
Scary. I'm glad to see you guys put your name back in too.
Yeah. I thought we were
SDA. It used to be, Annalise Ripley. And they switched to her out school outreach to school to teaching.
I like that.
Yeah. The retitle.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, she's great. Oh, yeah, she's. Oh, she can. She just keep. I think.
Thank you.
Midnight, my firm days was represented you have to do inspections. I don't know. Yeah. I think. Yes. Yeah. Makes sense. Oh,
That was unfair.
we got a lot of time.
Thank you guys.